Hey, it's Rob,
And Alli.
and it's time for camp.
H54.
Yay! So we're back from Hollywood.
Bougie.
Oh, Alli had fun.
I did. I met a really good friend now, Lorraine. I love meeting cool people, and then I just make them my friend. And she was amazing. She was so sweet.
She's a sweetheart.
She's a hoot. Yeah, and we got to be there with Jeff.
You got to check her out. She's got Travel Panda. I think it's Travel Panda. We'll have to link her on here. And
yeah, she's awesome. And then Jeff Reynolds with Reynolds Production was there. He's done a couple movies. Martina and her daughter were there promoting the Christmas Witch and stuff that they were doing. So it was pretty neat. Walked the red carpet. Feel like I need some practice. Never had done that before. Yeah, in a couple pictures. Rob was smart. He took his gum out. I did not.
I took my gum out. Oh, yeah. I didn't see before. You didn't take your gum out.
I know you just see it like in my mouth.
It was new. Yeah. Well, first of all, we had a test run at the red carpet the night before.
That took an hour and a half.
No, it was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it took a long time.
And literally, we finally just rushed it and did a big group shot and got out because it was like, that was, what was your phrase about LA?
They overpromise and underdeliver. Sorry, LA. But it really is this.
It was bad.
It's just, I mean, I don't know. It's this glam. Oh my God, it's amazing. And it's actually just not all that in a bag of chips. I mean, so we have, Martina's amazing. And I think she set us up for failure. Martina has the White Mountain Film Festival.
Yeah, the Arizona, it's Shola Film Festival or the White Mountain Film Festival.
I'm used to that.
Yeah, and it runs really well.
Yeah.
They do things well. You know, some people here are perturbed because they're like, you know, they have some asks and they're like, oh, well, you know, they should be able to do it. And it's just like, well, they're doing a whole lot here, and
it's a lot.
And one of the things about our area and the area that we live in is the people here have, if they live here all their life, they expect that everybody else should adapt to them. And then they wonder why it's the way it is. And it's kind of, I'm not going to get into that because we're going to talk about.
No, but I've lived here all my life, so I can. I'm different.
We lived here since you were 30, or no, not 30.
13.
Since you were 13, but you had up to 13 to understand something outside of this area.
You're right, and. But so Martina she does an incredible job, and it just made me appreciate her more.
Yeah.
And her capabilities. I mean, she's just a brilliant woman, and we're really lucky to have her on the mountain. Don't get me wrong, it was a blast. It was fun. Rob looks fantastic in a tux. And it was just, we got, the people there were great. The people that we met and the people that we knew were great. Sir Earl was there, and he's a good friend. And
Earl Toon, you know, that's with Kool and the Gang.
Yeah. Celebrate good times. Come on. Yeah. So and it's always good to see him. Rob got to meet is it Ernie Hudson?
Ernie Hudson, yeah, of Ghostbusters fame.
Yeah.
Winston
from Ghostbusters, which our kids love.
Yeah.
So that was pretty neat. What's her name? Something Marble. Marla Marble.
Marla Maples.
Maples, that's the one.
Marla Marbles.
Sorry, I'm not really good.
One of Trump's exes, yeah. So.
Yeah, she's nice. Rob ended up in an elevator.
We just wrote down. That's all. Made jokes about exes. That's all.
And then one of the Baldwin brothers was there, and there's some other people.
Yeah, one of the Baldwin brothers. I forget which one. Yeah,
maybe his name was Eric.
No, it wasn't Eric.
No, it wasn't Eric. Kevin.
No. Anyways.
Okay.
We don't know the Baldwins, obviously, other than that one guy.
Yeah, I forget their names. But so being from the outside in, like, this is not something that Rob and I do a lot, but it was fun.
It was an unplanned trip in reality because it got popped to us about, I don't know, just a couple weeks ago. And Jeff Reynolds is calling me right now.
Go figure.
I'm going to say, hey, recording a show.
Just talking about you, Jeff.
Go online and look.
Yeah, it was, we were talking to Jeff, and he's like, you guys need to see this, and we need to get down there. Jeff is a really good friend of ours, has been for several years here. I want to say like 6 or 7.
Something like that.
Yeah, really good dude. And Rob's working with him on some things, but he's like, you got to get down there and you got to go to this, like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay. And we did. And the hotel was neat.
Yeah. We stayed at the Hilton Universal City, which is right there next to Universal Studios. So that was pretty cool.
We got to see Harry Potter's little area from Universal Studios there. Yeah, it was neat. It was actually kind of relaxing because we were going to just drive one full day there and back. But we decided to go early. And so we really had a whole day of like, we tried to take a nap that day,
Yes.
but then the maid came. So we had to go back downstairs, but that's
Whatever.
okay.
And then I got to experience an earthquake, which
Yeah.
I'd never experienced in like almost 30 years of going to California.
Yeah, that was neat. I was passed out upstairs and he was downstairs talking business. And I was passed out and it kind of woke me up, but I didn't know if like, you're falling and sleeping. You're just like, awake. And then I get a text from him. He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, are you okay?
Yeah, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, she's okay. She's sassy.
But I didn't really I was like, I don't know. And then he came up and he's like, you felt the earthquake, right? And I was like, okay, you vetted that. There was an earthquake. It was a 3.9, you found out.
Yep.
And it just was that was it. It wasn't
That was about it.
Really?
Yeah.
That much? I just felt like
it was about that long.
Maybe took a little bit.
Maybe 5 seconds. I don't know.
But I probably got the tail end of it because I was just a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually.
And then it undulated for a while after. So I'm sitting there watching glasses of water just move in the lobby. I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
I wasn't downstairs. I was in bed. Like I said, I was asleep, so I got the last bit of it because I'm on my phone, and then I passed out with my phone and my glasses on type deal. So, anyway, LA's pretty neat. It was weird though. They charge you $50 a day for parking in the garage.
And then a guy was like, that's why when I checked in, I was like, oh, how much is it? Oh, it's $10. Well, I thought it was $10. And it was like, no, it's $60. It's $10 more than the $50. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it was. So there's, and it's a new place. So the one thing that I do like what we talk about when we travel is we sit there and we go, okay, this is what our experience is like, an after action review. We did them in the fire departments all the time.
Right.
The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, the great, what we want to do again, how we want to do it. And it was a great location for Universal Studios. We talked about that with the kids. Fantastic location.
Yeah. And they got a shuttle that drives you over. So here's my point. And that's what this show, why it's talking about planning your trips, like planning your trips and setting them up. And it says in parentheses, and sometimes not telling. It's like, don't tell the kids where we're going because kids, once they find out where you're going, are going to plan for you or beg the crap out of you because they have no understanding of the passing of time. So we've planned for a trip. Now they do know about the trip that we've planned for in July. Okay. But you got to plan, first of all, you got to plan out, figuring out if you got to use vacation or stuff like that, timing. And then it's the little details. It's getting, as you get closer, further out, you want to plan your things out. You want to schedule for things. Nowadays, you have to make reservations for things and do things. So we're going to make the reservations and we'll know which day we're doing what when we get to Chicago.
So we went to Chicago for our anniversary in October and it was fantastic. We had so much fun. It's like a classy New York. And no offense to New York, but when we went into New York and it was garbage day. And oh my gosh, that is impressive. And that made me respect all the garbage people. I've never seen piles of garbage as big as houses. It was insane. But New York was stinky. There, we were in Manhattan. We paid a lot of money for a room. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like so bougie about this.
She knew how much the room was going to be.
Yeah,
and then we got in the room and she's like,
oh my God,
what?
The door hit the bed. There was lights underneath the bed. I'm like, what's the point of these people?
They weren't moving. It was just a single color. It
wasn't like you could shower, shit, and shave at the same time. And I'm not making a joke. I could sit on the toilet. I could have one foot in the shower. I can have the other foot right in front of. It was just, and two people could not fit in the bathroom at the same time. No way in hell. One person barely could fit in there. And so it was
like a cruise ship bathroom.
Yeah, and it was New York. New York, I have a lot of family out in that area. It's just not my cup of tea. I got to do the Manhattan thing.
And then she decided, oh, we don't need to make plans. Yeah. We'll just do things
as
they come.
We
stayed across the street from Central Park. Guess how much time we spent in Central Park?
We drove by it a lot. We were late to the New York Library, and I got 5 minutes in the library.
Yeah, 10 minutes, but
got an amazing book that I give to everybody out there. If you're ever going to a baby shower and they say bring a book, this is the best book to bring, and I read it all the time, and it still makes me cry. It's The Library Lion, and it's about the New York Library and this lion, and it's an incredible book to read to kids. Anyway, so I don't want to go back to New York. The pizza was good. We saw a guy drunk actually get a pizza that was pizza's that big, and he folded the pizza over and took a nap. It was
warm. Yeah.
I saw a New York rat, and yes, they're as big as cats.
We were going to get a leash for it and bring it home. I thought we could get adoption papers. I don't know.
so many things. But Chicago was cleaner, much cleaner. It was the people there were really nice. I mean, there was just so much in walking distance. You know, New York, we were taking taxi here, or running around. In fact, it was
We did walk once for hours.
yes, along the coast, and I got to see.
Oh no, I'm talking about New York.
Oh,
The night with Susie. You were
yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna go
My
do-"
my
They
cousin.
just talked
my,
and walked and talked and walked. And
yeah, it
talked
was
and
awesome.
I'm
We
like,
went to Chinatown.
"Oh,
That was
wow."
fun.
Okay.
But
Anyways, back to Chicago.
Chicago, we got to experience it, and there was just so many things. We're like, wow, the kids would like this. The kids would like that. I mean, the zoo it's just a free.
And at first, so we go in the zoo. And she's being Miss Tussle, and she's like, "Oh, sure. Are there any animals
on
in
this
the
trip?"
animals in the zoo animal tour, Rob?" We start going. We walked around. We finally get to like the
'Cause
third
it was
thing,
free.
and all of a sudden,
Boom.
boom,
All
we're
of
there with
them.
the primates, and she's like, "Oh,
Dude,
my
the
God."
amount of animals. I mean, there was a red panda, which is Rob's favorite animal. He loves them. There were snow tigers we saw. There were seals. One seal flying up, or swimming upside down backwards, which was hilarious. He just was like, it was amazing. The amount of monkeys they had, everything was there. Everything was allowed except for that one bug. It didn't make it.
The stick bug died.
Yeah, he wasn't so happy.
We had a tragedy in the bug arena.
But it was incredible, and it didn't cost us everything. And then we went to the Arboretum, which was incredible. The one thing that I regret that we're going to hit this time we missed was, if you have never had a deep dish pizza, it is not a pizza. They shouldn't call it. They should call it more like a casserole. It is worth the wait. It's a 45-minute wait.
It was a 40.
My mouth's going to start watering. It was so amazing. It was like a lasagna. And I swear they use cornmeal. So we're going to go back and we're going to take that class. I want to get in the water because I've always just seen ocean.
She's never been in. I was like, it's a Great Lake. She's whatever, lake. And she's like, wait, no,
there's waves.
This isn't the ocean. I'm like, no,
there's waves.
Like, when does a tide come in? It doesn't do that. It rises over the year and back, but it doesn't have a tide. It doesn't.
It was pretty choppy because we were walking it. We walked 3 miles alongside.
And then we watched a storm out on it. That was way out.
And he got great videos of just the water coming over. It was a really freaking awesome trip. And the whole time we're like, wow. Oh, and then there's Starbucks. Their Starbucks was incredible. We went back like 3 times.
What were they called? It was a special reserve. A Starbucks
It was
reserve.
like 4 stories.
It was 5 stories. Well, they had an upper terrace, which I never went on, but it was 4 stories. Yes.
Inside. And they had this mushroom pizza that was absolutely to die for. Oh my gosh. All their food was to die for. They had the martinis were amazing. I mean, it was just, and everything was in walking distance. We didn't rent a car or Uber.
No,
anywhere,
we Ubered a couple times to go further places because we were further away from where we needed to be. So we got Ubered over. And at one point, we'd been out and we'd walked. And then we got on this, the Wendell's taxi, which is the water taxi, just to see at night, and went all the way down all the way. And I'm freezing at this point. It was cold that night. We go up the stairs, we go to over, and I'm like, let's just get a taxi cab. Fine. So we get a taxi. We go, okay, where are you going? I'm going to 400 Dearborn. And he goes, oh, it's right behind you.
100 yards.
Be a man. Get in the car. And I'm like, geez, oh man, dude. Like I look at a map and I'm like, oh, it's 500 feet away, which it wasn't exactly. We had to walk around the corner, but it didn't really matter. It was literally right behind us, but we didn't know that.
No, we didn't. And Rob was done getting beat by the wind, and I was cold, and I was lovely.
So then we walked down to the door that we thought we could get in. We couldn't get in, so we had to walk around the corner and over halfway down a block,
which was fun.
And then we got in, which was fine. But it was hilarious. It was like, oh, it's right there.
So because we were there, we were like, we're taking the kids back. And so we're planning the trip. We got the place for the RV.
And I'm about to start lining up the Field Museum and then the visits. Those all that stuff that have to have you tickets for, or at least times for, because the Arboretum, you have to have a time for it, even though it's gonna be busier in summer versus October.
Well, and it wasn't hard to get a time. Like we were like, oh, we can't go in. And they're like, no, you just go online to this website.
We're not yet at the end of school, and we're looking at our next trip, which we're not going to tell you what it is, in October.
We don't want you to tell the kids.
Yes, because we don't want the kids to hear, and they're in the other room and they'll hear it. So in October, we're planning a trip, and that one's going to be a little more intensive. So we got to look at
10 days, probably
10 days, but we're also looking at heights of kids. That'll give you a hint. We're going to make sure we have a certain height. Otherwise, we're going to have to nix that trip or figure out something around it or push it off.
Yeah, because we're
going to do this trip once.
Yeah. Well,
we're going to do this trip once. It's not going to happen twice. I can tell you that right now.
Probably
we're gonna
not,
do
'cause there's other trips
things.
to
There's
do.
other things that we're
Yeah,
going to do.
there's other trips.
But we got to do this one once. We're going to do this once.
But we're gonna do it right.
Yes.
And we have enough points.
Yeah, we may do this trip the other coast a couple times, but this coast that we're talking about, we'll do once.
Yeah, and plus our oldest is gonna graduate from high school and she's gonna go off and
It's
stuff.
the last time.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Okay, I
So-
agree with that.
And that's also not going to be a drive the RV trip. So that'll be another, and we'll talk about the differences between those because we've got, we're trying to make some changes up here so we can actually just go over, get the RV and go. Plus the RV is about to move up here in about, I think
6
a
weeks?
month, 2 months. Yeah. So we got the next 2 months out. I'm hoping to get it up here April.
We just upgraded it with a leveling kit.
The leveling kit in it. We got now a 12-volt refrigerator. For those of you that we talk a little bit about camping, when you're driving, so when you go somewhere and you park and having a propane refrigerator is fine because you can either use 12 volt, or you can use 110 volts, plug it in at a campsite. It can run off of the generator, and then also it can run off of propane. And propane's a real good use. It works a different. They call it absorption refrigerator, so it works a little bit different. And the fridge doesn't have a whole lot of space.
No.
So she wants, of course, the fridge to work as we're driving down the roadway.
But
you
then
don't
you have
really
to
want to
keep the
have
propane
having a
on.
flame on as you're driving down the roadway. Not the smartest thing in the
No.
world. It also goes off and on and off and on, and you don't know it. And if it goes off, that's why you got propane. Anyways, now it's 12 volt. So it'll run off of solar panels. It'll run off the inverter, so it can run off of the 110. It can also run off of whenever you run the generator. But instead of driving the generator down the road to do things, we can use that.
And the fridge is bigger.
Yeah, and the fridge got bigger and in the same space. So the same
Which is
space,
crazy.
more area. Got solar up on the roof now.
And the solar, you got it up there, or did he get it up
He'll
there?
be getting up there. Yes.
Uh-huh.
He told me for a certain price he could put it up there. I'm like, you know what? You can just do that, and then when we show up, it'll all be done.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't have to worry about it flying off the roof. So.
No. So, and then our Jeep's all ready to be towed.
Jeep's ready to be towed. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole.
It's funny.
That's
We've
a couple
discussed
shows
about
back.
limiting mileage on it.
Yeah, we have another truck. We drive into the dirt.
Drive
That's
it
my
into
drive in the dirt.
Drive it into the
all
dirt.
over the town. Yeah.
Plus, it's all-wheel drive, so it can do snow and stuff like that.
Which we got some snow. Our season. They extended our
Yeah,
season
we got
up here.
snow finally. It didn't extend it.
Fine.
It
Well,
started.
sunrise.
sunrise.
We have if for those of you guys that might be out of town, we do have a ski resort up here, and it has been not very good this year, and they just got some snow, so they extended it.
I got to tell you, the guy that's out there, I think it's Matt, is his name. If it weren't for him, they wouldn't have had a season at all this year. They would have been open for like 6 weeks and closed. But because of the snow making ability and them making the snow out there and concentrating on it, and the other things they added to it, including the downhill coaster.
There's a lot of cool stuff, and they got
stuff.
this big tower you jump off of onto a beanbag, and yeah, a lot of great things all year long up there too. So we live in a tourist community, so we usually head out of the area because we can tourist on the weekends anytime we need to. So it's pretty neat. But yeah, so as we're planning, we'll just keep you guys, up to date on our plans, because never know, if you haven't been to Chicago, I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
We stayed at a great hotel. We went to the Foundation Room, which we're members of, which is pretty awesome.
We're pausing them.
We're pausing it
We're
right
saving
now.
some money right now for other announcements moving forward. We're doing some things.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Moving and shaking.
As a couple, we have to make decisions that are best for us, and you got to prepare for that decision, just like planning a trip.
Yep.
Planning life. You got to plan it. Yeah, I have learned from the New York trip that we have to plan, and I don't do that anymore. I say, okay, Rob, plan.
So now we're going to be looking at dinner, and we haven't planned anything for dinner. So anyways.
I already planned.
You planned dinner?
Yeah, I have leftovers.
She did that. It's leftovers. Very cool. Awesome. So anything else you want to mention, Allie?
Well, no, I just appreciate, the fun and being in a very solid, good relationship is always nice, helpful, and I really enjoyed. I know I said they overpromised and under-delivered. That's the LA thing. That's not necessarily the event thing. I want to clarify that. It's just the whole idea of that. But I did meet a lot of really cool people there, and I did enjoy those people, and we got a lot of connections. And so it was definitely a worth it trip.
Hey, so everybody out there, have fun, and don't forget to venture forward. I'm Rob.
And I'm Allie.
This is Camp 54.